Hi Aries, welcome to your mid-July 2019 General Tarot Update. It's Raina here. And remember that this is going to cover the period in the last half of the month where you are having that lunar eclipse, which is in Capricorn. So for you, Capricorn happens to be your 10th house of career. All right. The heart of the matter is the Ten of Swords. Now, it's funny because normally I would say, this is a card of being betrayed by somebody, stabbed in the back, metaphorically speaking. And that is one possibility. However, it can also be someone who is kind of like starting to recover from something along these lines, where something has happened that was very upsetting to you. This, as you're watching this, you would know what I'm talking about if this resonates for you. And things are starting to get better, actually. Number 10 is the end of a cycle. So we, in life, if you kind of observe things, you'll see that we go through cycles. And some of these cycles are very challenging. And it can be like, I think that, personally speaking, because I think about things in my own life, and I think, you can short-circuit those challenges, though, if you have the right attitude. It's when people buy into it that they create this, kind of long period of time. A cycle may simply mean that, for instance, let's say the Ten of Swords means that you've been dealing with a partner that has cheated on you, okay? Maybe you've gone back and forth with this person, and now you're finally ready to just let it go. So in that particular situation, your new cycle may be that you're going to be alone for a time. And that isn't bad. That can be wonderful. That can be very freeing. So it's like our perspective that really determines how we interact with a certain period of time. In the past position, you have the Knight of Wands, which is a card of a lot of movement. This can be like, to me, the Knight of Wands really connects with Aries, that kind of rambunctious energy. Definitely is fire energy, but this is one of those cards that is associated with Sagittarius. I can think of two cards that are associated with Sagittarius that I feel do not belong to Sagittarius, being a Sagittarian myself. And one of them is the Knight of Wands, and one is the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands is attributed to Leo, or I attribute it to Leo, actually. And the Knight of Wands, I attributed to an Aries male in particular, but that Aries energy, which is very masculine and very freedom-loving. So you're coming from this desire to have this in your life, this freedom. And so what it could mean is that even if you're dealing with a disappointment of sorts, sorry for the noise. I didn't close my window. It's a very hot day, and I do have environmental noise, so even with the window closed, you probably would have heard it. So the bottom line is that it really isn't about one thing versus the other. You may just be kind of getting your mojo back for some reason. Maybe you're in a situation, whether it's in the workplace or in your private life, where you just have not felt like yourself, where you have allowed someone to kind of like dominate your mind and kind of get inside your head, and you've been a little bit less assertive and maybe a little bit too dependent on their reactions to your decisions, and now maybe you are realizing that you actually have the ability to kind of go your own way in life, and that you don't need that person to define you anymore. And in the workplace, this could be, getting passed over for a promotion more than once and feeling like, you know what, I'm tired of being disrespected by these people. These people seem like they just don't have any kind of regard for me. And so I'm just going to let it go. Let go of the dream, because maybe you thought this was the place to be, and you're finding out the hard way that it really is not for you, whatever the situation is. The higher message is the Hierophant, and this is a card of tradition, of marriage, kind of like, in some cases, I was going to say kind of like conforming to tradition, but it can also be about the spiritual. So it might be saying, you need to focus more on that. You've been too much in the world lately, and that has complicated your life first and foremost, where you haven't been able to fall back on anything comforting from a spiritual perspective, and therefore you've been kind of left to fend for yourself. And the Hierophant is also connected to the sign of Taurus. Maybe there's a Taurus person in your life that you haven't really given enough credit to, that they are in your corner, they care about you, and they can help you to get over whatever you've had to deal with. But in terms of like that idea of the spiritual, if a person identifies too much with their career or mainly, it could even be with relationships. Yeah, relationships too. Even though I'm not saying that it's something that doesn't make any difference. Of course it matters to people if somebody's cheating on them. But there's the ultimate, I don't want to say authority, but that concept of something that transcends everything on earth. Everything, all the little petty things that we think are so important, in the grand scheme of things, are not. If you got passed over for more than one promotion, Aries, and you really feel this sense of unfairness about it, and just like you're not being treated the same as other people, that could very well be true. Could be that the boss is afraid of you, because a lot of Aries people are dynamic and they're go-getters. And that can make the hack boss feel a bit nervous. Sometimes people want to surround themselves with mediocrity because they don't want anyone to outshine them. And that kind of thing, to me, is another indication, if you can relate to that, that you are probably in the wrong place, because you need that sense of appreciation coupled with opportunity if you are going to work for somebody else. A lot of times Aries are better off working for themselves, just because you are dynamic and are very interested in charting your own course. What crosses you is the Justice card. Again, this can either be that you have seen the legal system fail you in some way. When I say legal system, this can simply be the corporate mediators, or whatever they call them, arbiters or whatever, arbitration. You may have seen them take the side of your boss, because that's how they roll. They're part of that same, clique. And if so, you may feel like you have nobody in your corner. That just gives you more information to go on whether or not this is a good fit for you. And usually Aries people are pretty willing to just leave something that is not working out. Unless you have a lot of Taurus inner planets, and you may be adverse to change. But in general, you probably won't have any problem going on to the next thing. And that's just how it should be. You know, everything has a season, everything has a cycle. And sometimes, you have to leave eventually, right? So even if it's not under the best of circumstances, hey, that happens all the time. Otherwise, people would probably be at their current job for 40 years if they were just perfectly happy with it and everything was going their way. If this is a legal situation that's actually in a court of law, you may be dealing with a judge that is biased, and this may also mean that you're not getting a sympathetic decision. That doesn't mean that that's the end of it, though. You may decide to contest the decision if it's not in your favor. This can be a Libra person. Libra is your opposite sign. This can be a Libra person who is not good for you. And this person may be imbalanced. Perhaps they have a mood disorder that makes them quite changeable in their moods. And sometimes you get Dr. Jekyll and sometimes you get Mr. or Ms. Hyde. And so, anyway, just some things along those lines. The advice is a strength card. This is a card that is associated with Leo. So this is a major arcana card. So I did get 3 major arcana cards in this reading out of 6. Pretty good. The strength card is about learning equanimity. I think that's one of the greatest forms of strength, where you are not moved by outer circumstances. I know that's easier said than done, for sure. But it's so necessary in order to be able to move on, where you're able to say, I'm not worried about the outcome because of anything that I go through, because I know that I have something to fall back on. That's why I say that God, that is a big piece of it. And not like a childish version of God. But this idea that the positive is the default setting in life. And that things will tend to work out in your favor if you're not mucking with them too much. And the confidence is not dependent upon a certain job title, where you can brag to other people and say, yeah, I'm a this or that, or the person that you're with. This is about something that goes beyond the outer designations, as they call them. And also, this could be a timing card that in August, the things will be better for you because you are a fire sign and Leo is dominant. The sun is in Leo for the first 3 weeks of the month. And so that forms a friendly angle called a trine to you. So that could be very helpful and you could feel great about that. And just the idea of being able to manifest more easily, perhaps. Jupiter is going direct in your 9th house in August. The outcome is the Page of Wands. Start spreading the news. Good days are here. So we started with the Ten of Swords, which is a card of kind of like hitting rock bottom. And then we end with the Page of Wands, which is a new beginning that's very exciting and good news arriving. So you can see that a lot shifts as the sun goes into Leo at the end of the month. This can be very helpful to not only lift your mood, but also make things flow more nicely. So this could be about a new job. You might be having great conversations with somebody, maybe someone that, a friend you haven't seen in a long time who's very comforting to you, who knows. But anyway, this should put a smile on your face. So I hope that you enjoyed this, Aries. If you'd like a private reading, the link is below. My website is rainamoonAstrology.com. Take care. Bye.